Have you ever looked at your players' faces while you're giving feedback during a drill? At a coaching workshop, we were asked to pay attention to players' body language while coaches were talking. And just a few seconds into what I thought was brilliant feedback by myself, I noticed that players were looking down, shuffling their feet. In the past, I've even had a kid sit down and start building a mud castle mid-speech. But here's the thing, it's not that they're not listening, it's that we might be saying too much. The good news, there are a few simple tweaks we can make to keep training more fluid, more fun, and actually more effective. In this clip from our podcast with Tom Walsh, he breaks down some of the most common coaching mistakes and how we can make training more engaging by saying less and coaching smarter. Let's get into it.
From a cognitive point of view, you'll see like very knowledgeable coaches like talking for minutes, and like I'll actually be quite interested. I mean, I like coming to sessions and watching other people's sessions, and I'll be listening. I'll be really interested in what the coach is saying, but I'll also be watching the faces of the players, and like there'll be like two players listening, and then the others will be looking all over the place, and so it's just like just that understanding of like the amount um, is like vastly different to the amount that you can get them to implement. And it's one thing if you're talking to like a thrower and you've got your one-on-one and they have a huge amount of control over the next like run up and the next throw or something. They have a huge amount of control and influence over that. Even then, you probably can't give them like, more than like two, three pieces of information. But once you have a team sport where you have like multiple people having to work together and like these two backs have to work together, and it's also dependent on what that defense does, and it's also dependent on the kind of ball they're going to get, and it's also dependent on where and how that ball is won. You start giving like five pieces of information. It's just like no matter how good that information is, it's just not gonna resonate. So then, that's a kind of cognitive mistake I see a lot. But then, from a conditioning perspective, you don't want these guys to sort of like hear these speeches. You want short, small bits of instruction that are kind of can replicate the kind of instructions that you'll get on the field, because you really want leaders. One of the big differences between rugby and American football, I think, is that in rugby you need multiple leaders on the field in lots of micro little like challenges and all the rest of it. And so a good coach I've found seems to be able to make themselves more and more redundant, so that you'll actually have like, this is our game, this is our ball in play time. We're going to have a quick game. Don't stop for mistakes, because every time there's a mistake, you're giving someone the ability to see a really relevant picture that they will see in the game and to react to that mistake. You want the mistakes to happen so people can like do the real time reactions. And instead of stopping them, let them experience these mistakes, experience them under fatigue, experience them under pressure, and let them like react accordingly. But then when it's time to stop them, just give them the kind of like question that they'll need to ask themselves on the field. Maybe give them the opportunity to answer it. Don't worry if they can't, and let them go back at it again. So I see that that's a big mistake. It's big pauses, long speeches. It takes away the conditioning, the relevant conditioning of demand. It's cognitive overload, and it doesn't let them see the thing that they need to be able to, the problem they need to solve. I see that.